Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of my paper making series. If you've missed the earlier episodes, especially the ones with the step-by-step directions, don't worry. I'm going to have a link below in the description box to that playlist where you can find them all in one place. I'm also going to have a link to that at the end of this video so you can't miss it. So what we're going to be talking about today is coloring the paper because some people have asked that question. Now, honestly, I thought this was a no-brainer, but you know what? Let's talk about it anyway. But let's talk about a couple of basics that you have around the house, like food coloring. You can either add that into the blender or soak your paper in a mixture of food coloring and water. And this is the result that I got using some red food coloring. And another thing you should have around the house would be coffee or tea. And what I did was I made a cup of coffee and tore up the paper and put it in there and let it soak. And then after it cooled off, I put it in the blender with some water. And this is the results that I got doing that. But let me tell you, do not put hot water into your blender. It's not safe. Now, if you're a crafter, you probably have a lot of scraps of cardstock, or you can start saving it. And you can add this to the blender with the rest of your paper. You're not putting a whole piece of this cardstock in the blender, but just pieces of it to help color it. And also another great thing to use is just colored flyers or things that come in the mail. Those are great as well. But here's what happened when I added a strip of red cardstock in with some, white scrap paper that I was using. And by the way, that emboss technique, I'll share that later. Okay, let's get down to some facts. The techniques I just shared with you are great if you're not a crafter, but personally, I am not into dyeing my paper ahead of time. In fact, for all of us crafters, we all have other ways of coloring our papers, and we do it every day in our card making. For example, we use watercolor paper, and it comes in one color, or we use cardstock in white. And we have so many fun coloring techniques that we use all the time. And guess what? You can use those same coloring techniques on this handmade paper. So now you're saying, well, I can do all of those same coloring techniques on the store-bought cardstock and papers. So why would I go to all of the trouble to make my own papers? Well, let's see. It's free, it's fun, it's easy, and you made it. You also have the opportunity for some organic textures if you let it air dry. And wait, let me say it again. It's free, it's fun, it's easy, and you made it. There's nothing more special than your handmade cards and embellishments and gifts. And guess what? It's going to be even more special with your handmade papers. You take the time to make cards instead of buying them. So why not do the same with your paper? Thank you all for stopping by, and I hope this gave you some ideas on how to color your handmade papers, and I hope you have fun experimenting with it. And also don't forget, there's a link below in the description box to the playlist for this paper making series, as well as a link that's going to be popping up here on the screen in a minute. Happy paper making, everyone. Bye-bye.